Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show. Coming at you again, finally, from the Neighborhood Loan Studio here in St. Louis, Missouri, with producer Taylor. Today's topic is happy birthday, Arthur. All right, let's get into the conversation. So today, we're on episode number 90, first of all. We are closing in on 100 episodes, but today is a very special day. It is the birthday of our second son, Arthur James Amsden. He's an amazing young man, and he's taught me so much about me personally, but also there's some stuff that, as I think about him, I just go, oh yeah, this might be fun to share with the crew, with the pod community. So Arthur is now 12 years old. He's been a big part of our lives for these last 12 years, and when we learned he was coming, and I should actually, you know what? I should preface this, everybody, by saying he is the start of what we call the Amsden March. Like it's Amsden March magic, because all five of us, my wife and I, and all three of our children, all of us have birthdays within 10 days of each other. So Arthur is March 14th, and then our youngest, Arrow, he is March 20th. Our oldest, Lex, he is March 22nd, and then my wife and I actually share a birthday on March 24th. So you're going to get over the next couple of weeks, over the next 10 days, you're going to get several birthday greetings, but also just kind of what I've learned from these amazing people who are in my life. But yeah, by the end of March, we're pretty much wiped out. Amsden March magic kind of sometimes turns into Amsden March Madness, and by the end, it's Amsden March fatigue. But then I don't have any birthdays the rest of the year I have to think about, except for my parents and my siblings and my friends and all of that. But but today's a very special one because it's Arthur. And I remember when he first popped into the world. We lived in Los Angeles at the time. And at the time, my parents had come into town and Meg's parents had come into town. And I was working full time as well. I did not get any kind of parental leave because of the nature of my job at that point. So I was still working full time. I'm balancing, some people being in our apartment, some people not being there. Also making sure that the in-laws on both sides kind of had equal access to Arthur. He did have to be in a Billy Rubin light for a little bit. And so I remember after everyone left, it was just kind of melee. And I felt like I hadn't even gotten to be with my brand new son, because I was also balancing our other son at the time, Lex, who was just 3 years old. And I remember just being a couple days in and actually getting really kind of emotional about the fact that I had not really just had a moment with me and my son. And kind of feeling like I don't know who this kid is yet. Everybody's been holding in, and I've been kind of the ringleader or the MC of the celebration, and didn't actually get to celebrate with him. And that was an interesting kickstart to that relationship, because I felt like I don't want to miss other moments with this kid. Because I didn't feel like I got the richness and the depth of that moment. I didn't want to miss other moments with him. And I got to be honest with you, ever since then, he is just a joy of our lives. And he is one of these kids who he feels very deeply about things. He feels very deeply about the world. He is a passionate young man. We actually will sometimes say he's joie de vivre. He's the joy of life, because he's got these dimples that seem to go on forever. And when he smiles at you and when you get that eye contact with him, it just lights up your world. And he's one of these people who is a natural born leader. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that, because he's what I would call an influence leader. See, there's two types of leaders. There are what are known as positional leaders, and these are people who have been, let's take it to work for a second, okay? These are people who have been given a position, they were given the raise, they were given the promotion, and they are positional leaders, so they have authority purely by their position. But then there are other people who are influence leaders, and these are the people that when you're sitting in the boardroom, you notice that even if the positional leader is saying something, everyone's eyes kind of look toward the influence leader. So you've got positional leaders and you've got influential leaders. And the influential leaders don't have to have a position. necessarily, and people still follow them because of who they are. And that's one of the amazing things about my son. I'm going to try and not get emotional, is he has such a natural born influence with his friends and even with cousins and people that he'll start playing a game in the yard and he's just kind of playing by himself because he is a little bit of an introvert. He needs a lot of alone time, but he will start playing by himself, and then all of a sudden people are coming his way. And kids that were in the neighborhood that were playing another game, they're like, "Hey, Arthur, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And then next thing I know, I'll look out the window and 4 or 5 other children are following Arthur's lead. Not because he said, "Guys, follow me," but they simply did. And I think that's a really powerful trait. And I think those two things about Arthur are really going to be an amazing part of his future. He's only 12, and I can't wait to see the future version of him, because I know it's going to continue to include joie de vivre, that joy of life, that he's just infectious in his smile. And I know it's also going to continue to include that influential leadership. People will follow him simply because of who he is. I call him King Arthur. He's my King Arthur. And I just love him. And I can't, Hun, if you're listening to this, my son, happy birthday. I can't wait to see who you're going to become over the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years from now. I can't wait to see the husband you're going to become, the spouse, the parent that one day you'll get an opportunity to be, the leader that you're going to continue to grow to be. And I wish you well on this day. But for those of you who are listening, I want you to consider, where do you maybe need a little more joie de vivre in your life, a little more joy of life? Are you missing out on the smiles and the moments and the grins because you're stuck in the ruts of the old belief, behavior, and all of that? And the other question for you to consider, I know that's kind of a 2-part call to action, but that's okay. You're an adult. You can figure this out. Part 1, where could you add a little more joie de vivre into your life? And number 2, are you a positional leader or are you an influential leader? Do people follow you because you are magnetic and people are drawn to that? You're that influential leader? Or are they drawn to you simply do they follow you because you're positional? Because you're maybe more gravitational. You're more of a, hey, this is my well of leadership, fall into it. Or are you magnetic? Does that joie de vivre draw people to say, I'll follow you no matter what? So that's all I got for you all today. Son, Arthur, I love you. Have a great birthday. And to everyone, have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.